Hello there, Michael Fudge here again. Are you ready for another end-to-end example? In this example, I'll demonstrate how to load JSON data, JavaScript object notation that is, that data from a file into a Python dictionary. The JSON file is going to contain information about European countries. If you're like me, you can never figure out where the country is exactly in Europe, so this program is going to ask you to type in a name of a country like Italy. It'll tell you what location it is in Europe. Is it in Northern Europe, Southern Europe, Eastern Europe, Western Europe? And it'll also explain what the neighboring countries of that country are. You might say, well, how are we going to write a program to do this? Well, we're not going to actually do any crazy algorithms to locate which ones are next to which. We're just going to load a data file that contains all this information and then parse the data file. The point of this exercise is to really get a handle on how Python dictionaries work, and I think it's a great example of that. Like all the end-to-end example series, I'm going to solve a real-world problem with code. I'm going to focus on the process, not the solution. I'll not solve this problem in a single step, but instead break it up into manageable pieces, just like I do in real life. This example is based on the content of Lesson 10, which covers dictionaries, and I will use Jupyter Notebook. You're welcome to code along with me as usual, and the source code accompanying this example can be found on GitHub here. And as always, if you're a student taking my course, you'll have this code on your computer already as you've cloned the Git repository. Let's get started. So you can see on my screen here, I have the end-to-end example up, and it says that we're going to load data from European countries. So let's go look at the data file. There it is, ETET Europe JSON. And if you look at this file, you'll see it's kind of hard to figure out where things are in here, but it starts out with a list, and then it has one element in a dictionary, and then the name of the country is the Islands. And there's all sorts of other information about it. It tells you where it is in Europe. It's in Northern Europe. So what I want to do is I want to do some information extraction. I want to load this data into Python, then parse it into a dictionary. And you're going to see that this is really easy to do in Python, thanks to the JSON module, the JavaScript object notation module. It makes reading this data actually quite trivial. And we're going to put that to use. Let's think about the problem first. So the first step I need to do is I need to load the data file into a JSON, into a Python dictionary. All right. Once I have that Python dictionary, I'm going to ask someone to type in a country. Then I'm going to try to find the country in the dictionary. Probably going to be a list of dictionaries, my guess. We'll find out. Not sure. And when I find the country, I'm going to extract the region, name, and neighboring countries. Then, of course, I'm going to print this information out. And along the way, I'll probably make this program better because this is just my initial shot at it. Let's start out by loading the data file into a Python dictionary. So the name of the file, I've already copied and pasted, is ETE Europe JSON. So we're going to call that the file name. It's that. And we're going to do our typical with open, right? And we're going to open the file name up. And we're just reading from this file. We need a handle, so let's call it JSON file. Now, the approach that I'm going to take, remember, there's two ways that we read from a file, either line at a time or all at once. We're going to read from this all at once, read it all in, and then convert it to a dictionary using the JSON module, which I did forget to import. So I need to import JSON. I know I need that. And let's do this. We're going to say data is JSON file read. And let's say countries, JSON loads data. And just to see if this works, let's do this countries. What do we get? So again, I'm going to open that file up. There's my handle. I'm going to read all the data from that file handle, put it in a string, and then JSON loads, the S is for string, converts a string data into a Python object, which in this case is probably going to be a list of dictionaries, my guess, but we'll find out. Let's go ahead and run it. Whoops, something broke. It says cannot decode byte. Okay, so when you get something like this, It's usually because it tells me right here it's a Unicode error. I'm not using the right encoding. So when I open it up, if I get a Unicode error, I need to say encoding UTF-8 like that. Yeah, UTF Unicode. So there we go. So now I have a list of dictionary. So let's just pick one of these countries, like country 10. What is country 10 in this list? I'm sure there's more than 10 European countries. Let's give it a try. It's the Czech Republic. Okay, so there's no reason to keep running this code to reloading it from the file. The variable countries has all of the data in it. So now's the time where I want to use another cell here. Let me just do this, and then let's go down this cell and do countries 10. All right, there's the Czech Republic. So what are the things I need to get out of this? I need to get out the region, the name, and the neighboring country. So let's see if I can do this. Where's the region? Eastern Europe. That's under the key sub-region. All right, so the key is sub-region. All right, so I'm going to call this sub-region. There we go. Just to show you that it works. I guess if we're going to be progressive about this. Eastern Europe. Okay. Then I also need to get the country name, which let's see if we can find that out. Put this back down there. Name, Czech Republic. And where are the bordering countries? I don't see that. Oh, there it is, borders. All right, so we're going to say countries, borders, and countries name. So name, bordering nations. All right, let's just print them out. Print sub-region nations and country name. And it would help if I spelled these things right. Bordering nations, like that. See what we get. And it says there's a key around border. It's not called, it's probably called borders, I think is what it was. Yeah, there we go. So Eastern Europe is the sub-region. And these are the countries it borders. And it's the name of the country is the Czech Republic. Okay, cool. So let's go back. Let's digest what happened here. So this loads it from the file. This works. Because it works, I probably want to now wrap it in a function. The function is going to input pretty much nothing and then output these countries. So the way we output something from a function is with return countries, like that. And then I'm going to say def load countries. That's a good name for this. And it's going to do all that and return that. There we go. So now I have written code. All this code here falls under the name load countries. And it just kind of makes it easier for me to deal with the complexity of what's happening here. Now I've kind of hidden it all away. So to run this code, I would say, countries, load countries. There we go. So this is the definition, and this is the function call. You've seen this before, but this is always pretty useful. So this part here is me extracting a particular country, country 10, from this list of countries. I probably am going to end up writing that as a function as well. And let's figure out how to do that. When does this happen? This happens after I find the country, right? So remember, it says type in a country, find the country, then extract it, right? And so this is me showing how to extract it. I figured that part out. So type in a country. I'm not going to run this and keep typing in a country. So I know Czech Republic works. I have that. It's right here. I'm just going to take that and I'm going to say input country is Czech Republic. I'm going to assume that that's what someone has typed every time because I just want my program to work for now. After I get it to work, then I'll celebrate by putting in an input statement. But there's no reason to have input, please enter a country here until I know I got everything else working. It's pointless to do that. So find the country in the list. So the list of country is called countries, but the only way to find this in the list is I need to loop over it. So I need to do something like this. For country in countries, if the country name is equal to input country. It's a pretty common pattern in computing. You loop over the entire collection, and then you have an if statement that helps you find exactly what you're looking for in that collection. So if I make it to line 14, I know that the current country is the country I want. For example, if I say print country name, and then I'm going to run this code here, which is going to load it from the file, use Czech Republic, find Czech Republic. It's going to print Czech Republic if I do it right, and it does. Okay, so again, it went back and reloaded that file. Input was Czech Republic, countries, and again, just to show you that this works, I could change this to France at this point, and it should still work, hopefully, and it does, France. Now again, it's not just echoing what I inputted, it's actually finding it in here, and I guess I could prove that by grabbing the subregion instead. So I could say country name is in, and then country subregion. Like that. Oh boy, sub-region. France is in Western Europe. Let's go back and change it to Czech Republic. Czech Republic is in Eastern Europe. So, okay, we're kind of getting there. We're getting there. I want to write this logic down here as a function. So I want to do something like this. Here's how you abstract it away. You're going to be given a country as input. So I'm going to say def get country data. Country. So I'm going to pass in a country, and then I'm not going to use one of the specific countries anymore. I'm just going to use this country, right? Because remember, when we talked about scope and functions, this is available to you inside here, but you would never use it. You only want to use what you pass into the function as input. I'm going to change these to country. 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 And I want to return back these values in their own dictionary, because I don't want to say return and then those three things. I want to say return one thing here, but I have three things that I want to return. So I'm going to use the dictionary structure to do this. I'm going to say country data, country dictionary. Let's call it a dictionary, empty dictionary. And then I'll say country dictionary subregion. Is that country dictionary bordering nations? Is that country dictionary name? Is that? Now you might say, well, didn't I already have a dictionary? Why am I making another dictionary? Well, the reason you're doing this is because now you only have the keys that you care about. So you're simplifying the problem by only including the keys that matter to you. Let's return country dictionary. Okay, let's make sure that this function works. Let's try to call it. Let's say get country data, and let's get the country data for countries 10, which was Czech Republic, right? There it is. Czech Republic, Eastern Europe, bordering nations. So I made my own dictionary. Out of the existing dictionary data. And again, I did that to simplify the data down to exactly what I wanted. So now this works and it does what I want. So I'm going to cut that. I'm going to put it up here in my main program, right there, like that. And now I can use it. If the name of the country equals what you input, then I want to say found. I'll say country data is get country data for the country. And just to be simple, let's just print the country data out for now. Like that. All right, let's give it a run. Eastern Europe, Czech Republic, bordering nations. Okay. We're getting there. We're getting there. So one of the things that I don't like is I don't know what AUT is and DEU and POL and SVK. I don't know what those are. Those are countries, but it's like they're code or something. So let's look at this again. I mean, this isn't very user-friendly. Like, I don't know what that is. So let's go back here to 10 again. So you'll see that every country has what's called an alpha 3 code. You see that? The alpha 3 code, it uniquely identifies each country. So the alpha 3 code for Czech Republic is CZE. So AUT is some country. So what I want to do is I want to loop over the bordering nations and find the alpha 3 code in countries and then return back the name of the country. For example, let's do it with AUT. Let's do it with AUT. For country in countries, if country alpha 3 code equals AUT, just print out the country name. What is the name of the country with that alpha 3 code? It's Austria. Okay, let's do it again. Let's try it with DEU. DEU, Germany, POL. Poland. Okay, so do you see what I need to do? I need to go through bordering nations. So I need another loop here. I need a loop that says for nation in country data bordering nations, right? Because what is stored under this key? Under this key is a list of bordering nations. So I'm going to go over that list, and for each nation in that list of bordering nations, I want to check through all the countries, and if the country code equals not Poland now, but the nation, I want to print out the name of the country. So this should give me Austria, Germany, Poland, and whatever that is. Austria, German, Poland, Slovakia. So there you go. Those are the 4 bordering nations. Austria, Germany, Poland, Slovakia. So now you might be wondering, well, where does that go? Where does that go? Well, I would put this type of information in the get country data, because returning this back isn't very helpful. You want this get country data to give you back everything that someone's going to be able to use in a meaningful way. So these bordering nations are inadequate. What I really want to know are the names of the bordering nations. All right, so let's do this. Rather than just set bordering nations like this, we're going to make bordering nations an empty list. And then right here, before we return it, we're going to use this code here. Let's cut it out. And we're going to paste it up here and fix it here. We're going to use this code here to deal with our bordering nations. So let's figure it out. So for nation, well, we can't use bordering nations now. We need to go back to country borders, right? Because country borders is where I got the bordering nations from. That's what used to be up here. It used to say country borders up there. Say for nation and country borders, go through the countries. Okay, the problem is I don't have countries in this function. I don't have it. I only have the currently found country, but I don't have all the countries. So I need to pass it in. I need to pass this in as input to the function because I don't have it here. Don't have it here. All right. And then if I find the nation, I'm not going to just print it. I'm going to add it to bordering nations. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to say country dict bordering nations append, because remember this is a list because I made it a list. So I want you to append to that country name. Okay, that's a mouthful, but let's think it through. Country name gives you Austria, and then you're going to append Austria to this dictionary key, which is actually a list. Okay, dictionaries can have lists, they can have strings and ints and floats, they can have all sorts of things in there. So that looks better. So let's see what happens now when I run it. Okay, I get a little bit of an error. It says get country data is missing one required positional argument. Okay, so when I call get country area on line 25, I gave it one argument, but I never gave it the other argument. So it's just telling me, hey, you got to give me two arguments. Right? I want to give it all the countries. All right, let's see what we got now. Okay, Czech Republic is in Eastern Europe and it borders Austria, Germany, Poland, Slovakia. This is much better than the country codes. All right, so let's just rehash quickly what I did there. So I made bordering nations as an empty list. Then I loop over all of the borders on that country, which are 3-character alpha codes. And I go through all the list of countries and I find that alpha code and I retrieve the name of the country and then put that at the end of bordering nations list. And then that gives me what I want. So I pretty much have solved the problem. Now I can go ahead and make this an input statement. Please enter a country. Let's give it a try. Germany. Germany is in Western Europe. And the bordering nations are Austria, Belgium, Czech Republic, Denmark, France, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Poland, and Switzerland. So let's try it again with Switzerland. So let's run it again. Please enter country, Switzerland. So Switzerland is in Western Europe, and the bordering countries are Austria, France, Italy, Liechtenstein, and Germany. So let's give it one more try. Let's run it with Italy. Italy is in Southern Europe, and it borders Austria, France, San Marino, Slovenia, Switzerland, and Holy See. So that, what you see there, is the whole program, 26 lines, and I wrote 2 functions because I figured it would just make the code a little easier to read. And this is the main program down here. In the main program, the logic's pretty simple. Just load those countries, ask for a country, loop through the list of all the countries. If you find the country that you entered, pull out all the data that's important to us, and then print it. Right? And this is really doing all the heavy lifting, because pulling out the data that's important to us is grabbing the subregion, grabbing the name, making an empty list of bordering nations, and then looping over the bordered 3 alpha code nation names and finding the actual name of the country for us. So this is what's doing most of the heavy lifting. All right, well, that's all of it. I hope you learned a lot, and I thank you for being patient with me. I know this one was a little longer than usual, but I wanted to make sure that I converted those country 3-digit codes to country names. Thanks. We'll see you later. Bye.